I want to at least get one. Hey, you've had it. I get it from you, Clyde. I'll get you guys no matter what. You can't get away.
Conversation stopped. Turn on the camera.
He's supposed to be coming. Did you say Scalise was coming, Bill?
No. Changed his mind. He and his wife are in Florida.
That one horse town Fred Marconi always told me not to go to. Now, I left here and went to Hodgensville, assistant there for 1 year. Then the job opened up at Greensburg. That was my home, so.
Is that a county school?
Been there ever since. I retired a couple of years ago.
What, a trumpet player from there?
Sir.
Trumpet player from there?
Will Parker.
Yeah, Will.
I just telling Bill, Will died this spring.
He did?
Sure did.
What happened to Will?
It was his heart. He just went to sleep one night and didn't wake up.
I bumped into him over in Indiana one time.
Dude, in perfect health as far as he knew. Ate this, nature food and so forth, everything you're supposed to do and exercise. Still got his mama running for him. And he was, man, he was regular there for about 2 years.
He was in the classroom.
No, but yeah.
8 miles south of Florida.
I bumped into him.
He's a professor. I visited on college campus. But yeah, it's going to be Dyersburg.
Hi, Bill.
Ed Yetter. Jim Morgan, Mr. Fire Truck.
Class is 8 hours a day. There's no time.
It's howdy do.
Keep it up, fellas. Wait.
I still remember she used to sing to him, I'll be home for Christmas, get the sand around.
That was where I burned up an engine in my car.
This is my first job interview. I almost started teaching there. As a matter of fact, I
You guys want me to go get it now?
another job and got out of that one.
Well, we
So we have it for breakfast.
Pardon me?
we teach
My summer. My daughter is up there.
You guys drive a hard bargain.
Randy Wells.
No, man, I was eating dinner.
On the hill had a Jim's hot dog.
I never was in music. I went to
Oh, yeah.
He used to always try to talk me into joining a band and playing cymbal. He talked me into it one time. Really, I don't know who Bill was. He had me all talked into it. So finally I went down and talked to Fred. And Fred says, somebody just took it this morning. So I didn't do it. But I knew him, real good. Of course, he used to come around our school when he was in some of those fundraisers and stuff. He was stuff right. Yeah, that's what he used to see. He used to keep me informed on who was, who where. He saw this guy and that guy. And this guy.
Dang, all right, I remember.
I used to grade for him. Where is he now?
I don't know, I haven't seen him.
I'm not dying. I'm leaving it go. I don't care. I'm not going through all that crap, man. Not worth it.
I said to him, I said,
I don't know where he is, but he was did fundraising.
Not worth it. I gotta take a cards over there.
You went over there.
Oh, man.
Is that right?
I brought it with me.
Yeah, you know where Duncan is?
We need to come back so we can play Shanghai.
I used to march with him.
Breakfast Sunday.
But nobody knew where he was.
There is no breakfast tomorrow.
You can eat up.
Not my sister.
I don't know where you can eat. I mean, all the restaurants around town. But I don't know if there's anything up in City. I can't answer that. Is it? I can't answer that.
I told him that. I said, I want to go there.
Just go. I don't like it this day. Sit there, squat and find out. That's all I can tell you.
So what are we going to do like in December?
Tomorrow you're on your own. This room's going to be open all day. Everybody wants to come down.
Standing up on
And then the thing is tomorrow night is 6 o'clock at the Commonwealth Room in Student Union. And Sunday is 10 o'clock brunches all day.
I can't wait to get back to Pittsburgh.
So
what time? 6 o'clock we eat lunch.
Last year.
6 o'clock.
Where?
Yeah, back.
I says, oh, I can't wait to get
What
to
is
eat.
proper time?
Proper attire is just good, nice
Best
slacks
pizza I ever
for the
had.
guys, nice shirt, no ties, no suits. Don't tell me that.
Bring anything but
Pulling that $20,000 camper around.
Lay your heart out, Bill.
I pulled it.
I know you do. I know you do.
I worked out 6 years ago.
What's that?
That's all I know.
Luke and I,
Wear a shirt. Wear a nice shirt. I'm not wearing a tie.
we're dressing.
I know it is.
What?
The camera's going on for a reason. I want to catch everybody's conversation.
Listen, who do you have that
Bill?
morning at? But you. That's right.
Well, I'll put it over here.
I'm prepared.
That's all right, no problem.
And I've already decided.
No, it's just a nice shirt. Bill Redwine was in here earlier, Alumni Association Director. He just said a nice shirt, or he's gonna have a golf shirt, good slacks, and no tie. It's casual. But no Bermudas or jeans or anything like that.
I brought all the suits.
He said if we don't want anybody putting on suits for 90 degrees or better.
And it's not air conditioned?
Yeah, it's air conditioned. But, I don't want to slay on the
They do that very quickly.
Yeah. I remember when we moved into that dorm, got in about 2 in the morning. There was hanging a wire and a light bulb on it. That was a light in our dorm.
14 roaches.
And Marzon told us that
We
we had
had
one of the
an
nicer
old
rooms.
rusty desk on it.
2 chairs, one on each side of the desk,
yeah.
4 guys.
4 bunk beds. And when I walked in, I shined the light, or turned the light on, and I heard this grunt and groan. That was my first introduction to Joe Dallas.
Joe Dallas.
The cockroaches are going from one side of the room to the other with the corkscrew.
Yeah.
Joe and his wife used to come up to our apartment every now and then when we, over there in Shader Hall. And she,
Really get that out of here.
his wife would come in and she'd pick up something we had and she'd, I really like this, Linda. I used to have something like this. Joe broke it. He said, I guess everything he picked up.
He broke it, just broke in his hand.
What? I don't know.
I was really going to give you the raspberries, though. Bill Redwine says, Jester called, we've got the best place in the house for him. We're going to put him right behind the dorm. Perfect. And I said, I told him,
Why we didn't do it, it got too
no,
hot.
I can't blame you.
If we'd have been,
We'd have
known we'd have had
been, you know.
electricity to hook into, we'd have brought it.
Yeah.
Because I remember that time, where was it I saw you when you...
Me. We did, one trip going home, we were taken to jail because Judge Shear was driving and I thought we
My
were
wife,
like
Vera
5 miles
Bonkarowski.
over the speed limit. They said we crossed the line, crossed the double line or something, but they got what little bit of money I had on me.
Hey, Pitt.
You two look funny taking one another's
Pitt.
pictures.
Pitt.
Hey, Elder Pitt.
Right away.
Greenville, Ohio, Ron Mayo.
Is he in Ohio? Is he in Greenville?
Right, I live there.
Ron, Jim Hayes,
Nice to meet you.
Vera's husband.
Oh, nice to see you.
Vera
Vera
Bonkarowski.
Hayes, I used to be Bonkarowski.
All names have changed, haven't
Yeah.
they? I see you.
To protect the innocent.
I switched from a long name to a short name.
You tired of spelling it wrong?
Yeah.
Good.
Glad it was.
Right, now I left here on the back. 20 miles where I lived all my life.
Jim Morgan, same old tricks. What's new?
I don't like the idea of putting concrete here on your football field.
I don't need...
Bill?
Yes, would you come to that?
I don't know.
Bruce, I was trying to think of this girl's name.
It's about time you guys got it. We've been waiting all day.
Nice girl.
All day.
It was Ruth.
It was your time.
Yeah, we're on vacation.
This group is getting bigger.
Isn't that good?
This group is getting bigger. Uh-oh, I know that woman.
And so I that's what he does.
That didn't help, did it? My door.
Taking a walk around the lake. You ready to go?
When you're in charge of something, of course,
Took his wallet, his shoes off, walked in the lake.
Here it is.
That sounds familiar.
Morehead, are you crazy?
didn't really have time to go
Thinking I was crazy.
you know, to look at it, go by this.
The pit man. Hey, pit man.
But it didn't work out.
Well, we came in. Yeah, okay. They have these things for these plantings and things.
I want to get all of Morehead guys
Boy,
together.
that's my bag.
Say back to the door.
Yeah, that wasn't right.
Vera, Carol, I want to get all the grads together for a picture for myself.
Jim, you
In the
got
car.
Can't get these out either. No, this doesn't work.
You're shorter than me.
Just keep shooting it, Jim, no matter what goes on. Just keep focusing slowly around.
Okay.
Yetter's having trouble with his camera. He used to have trouble with his car, now it's his camera.
Dodge. Kind of camera this is.
It's good that Carol married him because now he's together.
Hi, Vera.
I had to perform miracles.
I believe it.
Judy, there's
You guys.
There's Bill and Ed,
Jim.
That's nothing like.
Steve Arena.
Go ahead.
Ron.
Sorry, you done?
Look at the camera.
Keep shooting. Keep shooting.
All done.
Vera Bonkarowski,
Yes,
Carol Short, Yetter,
we were all late.
Jim Morgan, Bob Manson, Lancaster, Ron
They all
Mayo,
two are separate
Greenville,
ways.
Steve Mars, Indiana, Illinois. Ed Yetter, we don't know yet. We're still deciding. And yours truly, Fred Marzon. Ruth Stevens, give me your last name.
Sean Huff.
That's good enough.
Well, I'll spell it. Schoenhoeft.
Watch that guy to your right. He's something else.
That was the name I married
Hey,
to.
that's the German part of Cincinnati.
Gene, my husband. Is that Ronnie Mayo?
Yeah. You very good.
Tangen?
Well, I've been here 27 and
Bob Marshall, Judy Moore Marshall, Steve Mars, Mrs. Kelly.
we were down at the festival.
Good,
Just everyone who
Gene Norton, teacher, Morehead since
all the band
67.
members in the 60s, and it was amazing how they got older and I got better. I don't know how that happened. There's somebody here from Colorado Springs. Is that right? Who is that?
Ron Bales.
Oh, Phil Beer from Marvin. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, he was in the Air Force. Oh, see, he came back and...
Was this Candid Kim?
Smile, candid. Philip Marvin Perry and his wife, Colorado Springs. Oh, gosh. Ruth, turn around here, Ruth.
Yeah.
You and Vera.
Oh, we're just
Unbelievable Morehead pair.
reminiscing.
Building.
Oh, yes, remember that. That was almost actually one fundraiser. We were going to Europe or something, right?
We're touring the building. Mr. Gene Norton, professor.
No, we never did that.
Maybe we come in here for beer. Right here we don't smell like
You know probably more about this room than I do. Since I have been here, of course, the room is as it is now with the addition of that stage. I think probably maybe some of you remember when this little portion here, which is used to be a sound booth, was actually a little bitty stage.
Right.
And this mini recital thing. What year was it that we added that stage there? Do any of you remember that?
All right.
The early 60s, 63 maybe? that stage was still the place where all of the major ensembles did their thing. Basically, right now it's used as just a backstage area for the recital hall, and if we get really crowded, occasionally we'll just draw those curtains and use it for a classroom. It's been used many times for a classroom. It's frequently used for activities for the band, just getting music out and various things like that. Let's walk up through this way. We'll go into the recital hall. Building here. This was completed in 1967, 68, during that school year. And it holds about 430. Most always we use the stage here for student recitals, as well as the large ensembles. Believe it or not, this stage can hold about 120. You have to be a little creative with percussion with that maybe. We have all the clinic concerts until just a couple of years ago here, but now there's just a need in the Weatherby Gymnasium. While maybe aesthetic qualities are not quite as great, at least there's more room. So, but during the year we hold just about everything right in here. And, this is the second floor we've had put on. We had a parquet floor, as maybe some of you might have remembered. It came back. It was a beautiful floor when it was originally put in here, but we had a gutter stop up and about this much water on the floor during the monsoons. That soon took care of that, so this floor was put in. This is the second organ we've had since we've been in here, and of course the pipes are back here. This is a really nice instrument. The original instrument was the guy that sold it to us should have worn a mask. And, it was not very good. But this is a really fine instrument here.
This is the Gene Duncan recital hall.
Gene Duncan recital hall. Gene still has an office up around the corner up here where he is madly working at the computer. He is the secretary or secretary treasurer for 3 investors clubs, and he regularly deals in thousands and tens of thousands of dollars every day. He's a very wealthy fellow. This is going up this way. Scales though. Yeah, in the moat. No offices and practice rooms there.
This area.
In here is the Tuba and Euphonium studios right here, or practice rooms and storage areas. They've got special shelves built for all the tubas and a couple of those practice rooms and so forth. And you can see they're just moderate size, but the tuba euphonium students have keys to get in there and so forth. And then all of this is faculty studios. Some of them are on the other side, but we've got French horn and tuba euphonium. Then on down the hall we've got trumpet and oboe, guitar. Ray Ross teaches there in guitar. Saxophones where I teach, and of course Sue Ann Howard. Some of you remember Sue Ann Howard Blair now. Still teaches cello. She's older than dirt, just like I am.
Gene, this is a new section down here, right, Gene?
Pardon?
Where did the old building end here?
Well, we'll go back that way. This whole section is the new section of the building.
Okay.
And it was open. We moved into this side in the spring of 1968. And I remember coming over and having an opportunity to pick which color rug I wanted, and I chose bad. It wasn't a real great choice. It didn't have an elevator. And for years we kind of joked with people that we got the shaft and somebody else got the elevator. The only reason it was really put in was because one day someone couldn't get to the 3rd floor that needed disability access, and that was the only reason we got it, as you know how that works. This whole upstairs, this whole 3rd floor, for a number of years was just one great big open space. Just a cement floor and cinder block walls. And
Morgan.
Basically, it was storage space for anything that we couldn't find another place to put. Old music, old nasty uniforms. I think there was even an old broken down organ and all kinds of Civil War model sousaphones and, you know, that sort of thing. Let's see, we got new uniforms in '67, and the uniforms that probably many of you used were stored up here for a while, and they were later even sold to some high school, and may still be marching down the street someplace.
Is this, Gene, isn't this the room that Chris went over and got all the old music programs and organized everything from the years previous to when we
That's
came
right.
even?
I was the one that actually did the
You
work on
were the
that.
one. Well, Chris said it was done, but I can't remember if he said
made
you
the
did or he did some of it.
He got the credit.
Sorry about that. I got everybody in trouble with that statement.
No problem. We did that in fall of 1985. I had done 4 years as director of bands, and after Hawk died, and that next year I came back upstairs in '85, and that was one of the projects that I took on that year, which was a wonderful idea. And it was really interesting to go through all those programs. We got back a lot of the way through the 60s and even some into the 50s with existing programs. And then there was isolated programs that Keith Huffman and others had provided, you know, that were way back there, you know. So I don't remember Warren Lappin singing on it.
Well, when I originally started this reunion, Chris and I went through all the old programs that were up here so I could get as many names as I could. And I just started writing everything down from all these programs because he brought me up here when I was here in '92.
Yeah. This room here is basically what we call a learning listening center. And of course, there's a number of recordings over here. We've got quite a few tapes that Fred Mueller, who was bassoon teacher here from '67 through '91, donated to us. Just incredible amount of orchestral literature and small ensemble literature, solo literature. And then Dean Duncan has also donated a lot of tapes that he had made. We are currently in the process of making a collection of CDs. That issue is really hot right now, as you well know. The kids at the university have to pass a computer literacy exam. They have to take a course, at least one course, and be functional in it. And of course, one of the classes that you take is psychology. It's a required course, probably was when you were here. That course now, you cannot pass if you don't have knowledge of computers, because every test is a computer test. And all of the research and everything that's in it is all computer. And that's been that way for 4 or 5 years at least. Taught in this room, and vocal materials methods, elementary materials methods, that sort of thing. Rudiments of music for just, you know, ordinary teachers in the elementary school. Frequently is taught in this room. And then Ashland High School and later part owner of Zwick Music, yesterday they had his funeral. He just passed away. He was in the late 80s. He was a real friend to many students at this university.
Hi, Bill.
Gee, Ruth Stevens, I thought I'd never talk to you again.
I know. Here we are. One is great.
When we opened the new edition over here, we decided that we needed to have more space. So this room was used for a variety of purposes for a while, ensemble room and whatever. At one point, Chris said, you know, we need to have a place where, you know, where we can have a reception after a recital, or you can just go and get away from it all, lock the door. Sometimes we have some meetings in here, but all of this stuff was donated by Music Factory and so forth, and this was donated by somebody. The 30th day of August, 1967, I walked down the street with my roommate that I had met, and Barney Martindale came out of his little store downtown. I had no idea who this man was. And he comes over and he grabs me, "Won't you please buy something from me? Please come in here and buy something." And he literally grabbed me by the arm. And I said, "Get away from me." And I looked in there and I said, "What do you have in there?" And he said, "What do you need?" And I said, "Well, I do need a bed." He said, "Come in." And literally, for 6 months, I rented a bed for $5 a month. Yeah, that's true.
We all believe that.
Oh, yeah.
We've been there. I still have one of the fans at home that I got from him.
He'll get you. Now, Barney had a lot of trouble there in the last part of his life. He was diabetic, and of course, he didn't pay much attention to his health, and he lost a leg in the process, and then still didn't take care of himself, and he died of diabetes. His wife still lives in their home they built over here, just a couple blocks. I'll sit down, you're going to have a test on what I've said, so. No, I thought you might want to.
Am I exempt from that? I got it on video.
Matching or multiple choice?
Open-ended.
This is our pre-senior recital testimony.
Pre-senior recital testing. Nice.
So, man.
We have the fine arts class taught in here. We have theory classes, a few rudiments classes. Phi Mu Alpha meets in here for their meetings.
We're right above the entrance.
Used all the time. Brass ensembles, various kinds of brass ensembles. 3 o'clock on Tuesdays, every person has what we call an ensemble or a lab. All the saxes meet together and all the flutes meet together, and so on. You have either that same hour is the student recital time. We also have in the evenings we have Eastern, Marshall, Western. We're all, frankly, pretty much a joke in terms of the band area. In the late 60s, they really had problems, and in the early 70s. So everybody came to Morehead. And now, let me explain what I said about the choir. We don't have many vocal majors. Now, what we do have are okay, they're fun. But we don't have very many vocal majors. But we have wonderful singers that come out of the band area. And Jim still has wonderful choirs. He has a terrific chamber ensemble. And the concert choir is good. We have a new lady who just took Vasile Benetassi's place. Maybe some of you remember Vasile. Roma Prindle has come to us from New York, and she grew up in Harlem, by the way. And she's just wonderful. This is the area they were from. Jack is playing all the time and playing really well from what I hear. He had I don't know whether you know this or not, but for years Jack had a terrible physical problem that he never told anyone about. He had a nerve that came down out of his neck.
And when did Mr. Stetler come to Morehead? And when did he retire?
You guys could tell me better. He was here when I came here, and I think he was here probably...
I think 59.
I think he and... Well, let's see. But did he and Bean come about the same time? And when did Fred come?
Probably
56.
Okay. Now, I met one of the band directors from here up in Ohio. What was his name? Offerman?
He died 2 months ago.
Okay. He was an administrator up in above Dayton there someplace. I think maybe Arcanum. I think maybe or someplace else. New Madison. Okay. But I met him, and as my travels have taken me up and down the I-75, it's really interesting to talk with people, administrators particularly. When you travel up there, you find an awful lot of transplanted Kentuckians in Ohio.
Wouldn't they look to Ball State for that area also?
Well, I would think that would be logical.
Because that's an outstanding school.
It is an outstanding school. We've had some folks that have gone on to teach there from here, and have come here from there. We had a trombone teacher from there. But, Morehead still has a pretty good reputation in music wherever you go. teaching end of it. Well,
That's what we
I don't know all of you. I know this character right here. And I don't know whether you know how good this guy is. In Ohio, this guy's a legend. He has just had a tremendous, not because of his age,
Jim Morgan.
well, maybe because of it, but because of his expertise.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, really? Tuba is in California. One of us usually hears from her at least once a year, and she usually sends a Christmas card.
Clyde, you're entitled to walk.
We can walk.
I thought you'd never. Thanks, Clyde.
The celebrities.
It's funny when you went to shopping today. You have to say we're not around the Pittsburgh area.
That's right.
Reunion time.
This is Wobby.
Here's another one, Rick Stevens.
Oh, it's been a lot.
To sign up for band. So we're doing the piano right now. I hope sometime they'll take a concert band.
I know you guys don't want to see this, but
On top of everything else.
well, I just want these memories.
Well,
Especially that guy from Pitt.
Try to pick all this up now.
I have to refresh my memory on that. We ran out of water in the car.
Yeah, on the job, it kept overheating, we kept one of the creeks and filling up with cup water and pouring it into it.
But give him some of the practice.
We have one story.
I'm trying to think to go in and drive. So now he's trying, he's trying to get him some books.
Here's another story about getting home to Pennsylvania. You got it.
Don't be camera shy either. How about your wife over here? Keep me in order.
Ann Arbor, we're about 30 miles south of Lansing. We're sort of in, well, if you take Detroit.
Last year we took our first Michigan trip, and we went up, well, I'd never been to Mackinac.
We went up to Mackinac.
And so,
Jim Gregoris.
we graduated in 16. And so we were here
Bill
58.
graduated in 62.
And
Smile, you're on candid camera.
I wanted to go to Florida on vacation, but oh yeah, right. I said, I don't want to go
That goofy golf
I
guy.
have to worry. So I said,
How you doing? Okay.
he can't retire. But
Hello, what's up, Wayne? How you doing? All right, good to see you.
Hey, Randy. Turn around here, Randy. I didn't have this with me last time.
I used to come up to those clinics. I could
Jim Patrick.
Yes.
Duncan looks the same after 30 years. Drew Stevens. Andy Wells, Steve Cabizzi. Mrs. Zucker. Louie and Jim.
You win? Or did you?
you want us to be told?
You know, some strange that I did when I was I think
we're going to cross reference it.
Judy Moore Marshall.
There you go again.
Got you again.
You can't turn your back on it.
It's really dangerous.
Hey, Jim.
Well, we were really looking forward to
Jim.
something.
No, I want you to just stay in there with Bob. Hang in there as long as you can with that guy. Out of here, baby.
Excuse me, Bill.
Sorry, Marilyn. Sorry about that. These people hate this, but I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right. I don't care. I'm comfortable. Don't complain about the ties yet.
No, I got another 10 anyway, I'm sure. These are my guys.
We're going to make 27,000 copies of that, right?
This is the most influential group from Morehead that ever went here.
While you're posed,
Make copies
that wasn't very
and send them to
nice.
everybody.
That wasn't very nice.
That was supposed to be a compliment.
Hey, it's Bill Morehead.
Hey, Bill.
Lincoln, I sure am glad you're here.
Well, I am too.
Hello, Mrs. Mars. Hello, Mrs. Mars. Hey, Gary. Randy Wells. Hold it, fellas.
We got one of our own there, I tell you.
Hold it. Unreal.
Remember the copies, Bill.
I don't want to miss anybody.
I got a few of those
Hey, don't let him in unless he shows his ID.
You got us. What am I supposed to say?
Thank you.
Oh, sure. I'm so glad to see you, Barbara.
I got it. Flip the switch, Bill. It's recording. This is just to prove that
We could. My name's Bill Redwine. For those of you that haven't had an opportunity to meet, I'm Director of Alumni Relations for the University and Executive Vice President of the Alumni Association. A lot of the activity this weekend, the Alumni Association helped Bill Barone plan. It was his brainchild to have you all back on campus this weekend, and I think it's turned out great. We're tickled to death to have this many people back. To give you a little update on we have more than 5,000 active members, active meaning contributing members of the Alumni Association. For an institution our size, we are quite proud of that, and we just topped that number this past week. So we're just to give you an idea of where we're going there. The university is on an upswing again. We received our first ever $1 million gift from a lady that was a native of Round County, Lucille Little. Dr. Gallagher was instrumental in a lot of the planning for that gift, and her gift is to endow the College of Humanities, which of course music is a part of now. We have some special guests with us tonight. Of course, Dr. Chris Gallagher and his wife Linda. Chris is a classmate of many of yours and is the current department chair of the Department of Music. Dr. Randy and Sue Wells. Randy is an alumnus also and says he's retired, but I haven't decided if he's actually retired or not. I see him on the
He lies a lot.
I know that. Dr. Glenn Fulbright is here with us tonight, and Dr. and Mrs. Jim Bean in the back there. We're certainly glad that they could join us. I have another introduction I'm going to save for just a couple minutes later. Come on in. We have two. Those are already gone. I'm sorry. Gene Duncan, I'm going to introduce him just in a second, let y'all hear him say a few words. Before we go on to dinner, before we leave here tonight, I'd like to point out the significance of having the group in this room. When a lot of you have been back in years past, this was called the Red Room. We remodeled this room just about 3 years ago and named it the Commonwealth Room. And the paintings that are on the wall around you were done by one of our alums, Skip Werline, who has an art studio in Amelia, Ohio. Skip was commissioned by the Commonwealth of Kentucky to do the bicentennial prints for the bicentennial celebration of the state, and that's what these prints are. On the back wall are 4 more prints that were done by another alumnus, Doug Adams. And I have a set of those prints for each one of you before you leave here tonight. They're out front, as you can pick them up as you leave this room. So that'd be compliments of the Alumni Association, just to say thanks for coming by. At this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Gene Duncan, if he would, to come and give the invocation. As Gene's working his way here, his lovely wife Jane is sitting at the table over there. I'm glad she could be with us tonight. Gene Duncan.
If I couldn't remember the name of one or two of you, you shouldn't be surprised, because I couldn't remember your names when you were on campus. And now some of you don't even look like those pictures over there. Now, Carol Feather looks prettier than she did when she left. Age really goes well with her. And of course, Bill Barone has those eyes that poke holes right through you. I knew who he was immediately, and some of you I knew immediately, but I couldn't put names there, and you were kind enough to tell me your name, and I won't remember it next time. But we certainly are happy to have you here, and I'm honored that I was asked to give the invocation, so let us pray. We remember the carefree times of fun, too, as well as the serious times of seeking to master skills and knowledge which are essential to the practicing of our profession. We remember acquaintances which so easily and naturally developed into permanent friendships. And so, as we partake of the food which will be placed before us, and for which we do give you thanks, we ask that the joys we have in this coming together of old friends may make this weekend celebration another of those memories which we shall cherish. Amen.
Before I introduce a couple people and make a few comments to you, I need to relate a story to you about these two gentlemen and another one of your party. It appears that a few years ago, the Bill Barone and Chris Gallagher and Randy Wells were traveling together. And it was near the Olympics time, and they were walking down the street together, and they saw a bus sitting beside the street. And there was a gentleman standing at the door checking names off. And being the sports enthusiasts that they are, you know, Barone still referees volleyball, I think. Volleyball. And softball, okay. They decided to see what was going on. And this guy was standing there, and as people walked up, they'd name their sport. Hurdling, they check them off, they go in the bus. Well, they tried to get on the bus, and they said, no, you have to have a sport. Well, being the resourceful people that they are, they noticed a hardware store. And they split up, and they came back in a little bit, one at a time. And up walks Chris Gallagher with a hubcap in his hand. The guy says, sport, discus, you know, Randy Wells comes walking up with a steel fence post over his shoulder. Said, sport, javelin. They keep waiting, and in about 10 minutes, here comes Barone hobbling around the corner, blood from head to toe, just wrapped in barbed wire fencing. He walked up and he said, sport, fencing. like to introduce Bill Barone, and he's going to have a few comments, followed by Chris Gallagher. And as he's coming to the podium, I'd like to express my thanks from the Alumni Association to Bill for having the energy and the enthusiasm to want to put something like this together, and all the help that he gave us in trying to identify people and finding good addresses on people that were lost and everything. So this weekend is thanks to Bill Barone.
I was never hired, Gary. Well, Bill really gave me the brainchild for this thing when he brought the alumni directory out in 1989. We printed it in winter of 89-90, right? I received it in March of 1990. I knew June 9th was my last day of school. So the first thing I thought about was I started looking through the directory in the back where it has all the states and all the people listed by city. Well, I looked in Michigan first because that's where I reside now. And I saw names that I knew. So I travel a lot with volleyball because I do collegiate USA Junior Olympic volleyball. And I travel 5 states. So it was easy for me to find people where I go to referee. So I traveled to Indiana, I looked up people in Indiana. I go to Ohio and look up people in Ohio, or Michigan or Illinois, or, 4 states, I'm sorry. So I had planned a trip at the end of the school year, and it was through eastern Indiana, western Ohio, on a 5-day swing. And I saw Pat Martin, and Jim Jester, and gosh, I can't remember who else, but I saw at least 10 or 12 people. Jerry Marshall in Union City, Ohio. And it was, I didn't tell these people I was coming. I did not call them. I just went. I've got a lot of nerve. I didn't know how I'd be received, but I really didn't care. Because I hadn't seen these people, at that time it was 28 years. Because I hadn't been back to Morehead since 1965. I came to the first 3 homecomings, and then after everybody graduated that I knew, I didn't bother coming back because it was too tough for me to drive 400 miles from Michigan for a weekend. So I just did it this way. I did it in bits and pieces. I would see people here, and I'd see people there, and I thought, when I got the directory, I said, boy, wouldn't it be great if we had a reunion? Because the experiences I've had with my high school reunion, we've had great leadership of the people that are still there that put something together like this with this hospitality room that Bill's put together over at West Mignon. And all the little details, just the little things, is what I was looking for. It's nice to see everybody in a room, but it's nicer to see people come in on Friday and share the whole weekend with everybody. Because that's what it's all about. I didn't think I was going to do this, but Bill puts me on the spot here. Well, anyway, in 1992, I called Bill and I told him I'm coming down. I've already started making a list of all the people that I wanted to see again. It was all the people in the music department that I had known from 1959 through 1965. 65 being the freshmen that were there in my senior year. Those people that were graduating in 65. Some people came in for a year and laid off and come back again. And I know there's other people here that are later than this that I never knew, like Mr. Browning here. But that's fine. I told Bill, I said, whoever comes, comes. I said, just welcome to anybody. And it's all the acquaintances you make through the university. It's not only with the music people and the music faculty, it's with the people you live with in the dorms from the other fields that went to our school. It's just everybody. It's a whole conglomeration. It's a whole family. Morehead gave me the kind of experience that I never really had in high school, because in high school, it was too cliquey. I didn't care for it. I enjoyed my years in high school with the band. The band was what I was really look forward to. But here, I grew as a person in Morehead. This is the place that I always remember. Because I loved the place. have a lot of people to thank for this thing. I have Bill Redwine, who's done a fabulous job down here, working with me for the last 2 years. It took me really 1990 through 1994 to really get this thing off the ground. That's 5 years of making a list. We made a list of 300 people, and I wanted to see 600 people in this room tonight. But I know that's impossible with graduations from high school and college. Everybody this age has kids that are growing up and doing this and doing that. But we tried to do the best we could with what we had, and a lot of these people that went to school with me, they never identified them by Social Security number, which they do today. Today, Bill can draw a person with a Social Security number and can tell wherever they're at in the United States. Am I wrong? That's correct. I mean, I learned this from him. Back when I went to school, we had no student number and we had no identification through Social Security. So it made it that much harder going to school here in the late 50s and 60s, early 60s. Well, that's another story. I'd like to say a few things here. I wonder how many of you would be interested in another reunion sometime. I do not know. I know I don't want to make this a yearly thing because then it gets to be old stuff. But talking to Bill, I'd like to do it down the road sometime, like 3 to 5 years. We've lost a lot of people already that I would have loved to have seen. I know I made some contacts with people personally between 1990 and now, and they're gone already. And I'm sorry I never saw them again. But anyway, I appreciate their response. And this reunion will get to other people by word of mouth that you're here, and that's a tribute to what we're trying to do here. I want to thank Bill Redwine in his office, and Chris, the head of our music department, and the PFM food service. Did I get that right, Bill? Right. Who did all our foods and for our hospitality room over West Mignon. And Eric Schindelbauer, our photographer. We appreciate him being here. And anyone else that had anything to do with this, under the scenes, you can't name all these people. It's just impossible. Our table on my left over here I brought 4 yearbooks. I brought what I could, 4 yearbooks from 1959 to 1962. If you're here tonight, I have a star by your name, a star by your picture, because I went through all 4 yearbooks. It took me 4 months to go through and name everybody that I knew, put a star, put where they grew up and where they are now, according to that 1990 directory. That's how I really put this thing together. I spent hours on this thing, but it was fun. It was fun. And this table has those yearbooks, and it has also the directory, the newest directory over there, the 1994 copy. I also have some pictures that I've taken when I've visited people like Jim Morgan in Lancaster, Ohio. We have his picture with his fire truck. Pat Martin used to tell us about the 1,000,000 fire trucks in Pittsburgh, and it got all over the campus. That's where that rumor started. But those kind of things are the things that we remember about what we've done at this school. This school gave me I didn't realize how good my education was at this school until I went to graduate school at Ball State University. And I realized that a lot of things that I was learning in some of the classes as a graduate, I had already learned at undergrad school right here at Morehead State. So this is a real tribute to this school, because Frank Pasquarella is one of our classmates of 1962 also, and he said the same thing to me when I visited him 2 years ago. He said it about Indiana University when he went to school there. So we know we've got great things here at Morehead. We had them in the past, and I know they've continued. But there's Dr. Norton, Gene Norton. Did I get that right? Gene Norton took us on a tour of the building today, about 20 people. They just happened to show up, and he showed up, and he took us right through the building. And it was great. And he's reminisced about all things that have happened since 67 when he was here up until now. It's just unbelievable. Well, anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't want to get into long speeches here, but I just want to share some of the things that I've done with you. But anyway, we've got some pictures over here, and we also have a photostatic copy that Bill did. Correct me if I'm wrong. He found everybody that came to this reunion and photostated a picture out of one of the yearbooks. So you're here blown up beautifully. So you can take a look at those. else to these. After this is over, after we leave here, there's a hospitality room, room 103, in West Mignon Hall. We want everybody to come. There are vegetables, snacks, pop. We have pictures. Chris has given us pictures, and Dr. Duncan or whoever's in the music department, Dr. Bean, Dr. Fulbright, I don't know who's responsible for all these pictures, but there are pictures of the band and this little ensembles, and it's just unbelievable. All things are over there in pictures, and I kind of collaged it last night after everybody left at 1:30 in the morning. I went through and got the pictures out of that folder that we brought, and I posted them up. There are some. Where did you get those those bumper stickers? It says Morehead. There's some music, more fine music. Chris, that from you? What's it say?
The one in the box there, Bill.
Yes. Music and Morehead stayed in tune with your future.
You know, instead of welcome to heaven, here's your heart. Welcome to hell, here's your French horn. You know. But that wasn't the case this time. You see, I want to tell this story about what I saw in the Johnstown flood of 37. So Peter says, all right, fine, we'll have you on at 8 o'clock tonight. So he showed up that night backstage on this particular cloud and looked out, and all the other clouds just cast the thousands. And just before he went on, St. Peter says, by the way, make it good, Noah's in the audience. Well, anything I have to say, all you know is, if you'll forgive me. As was alluded to earlier, we are now a College of Humanities. Since we've changed quite a bit in terms of what we are. We were Department of Music, Division of Fine Arts, College of Humanities, College of Arts and Sciences, let's see, back to College of Humanities, and now we are the Caudle College of Humanities through the $1 million endowment by the Caudle family, which the Department of Music gets 1/3 of it, the other 2/3 being art and theater. And some plans are being made now preliminarily. The interest won't be tremendous for several years, but 30 years down the line or 20 years down the line, there'll be a significant amount of money available for some major things. We're talking about the Caudle professor in residence. I mean, to bring in biggies. We're right now thinking in terms of offering artist series to communities in our service regions who do not have artist series. And whatever money is generated goes back to that community for the arts and so forth. So we're strategizing a lot about that. And one thing I want to mention now before I forget it, if you do not receive our Music Alumni magazine, it's a publication that comes out semi-annually. The one now is at press. Please see Bill Redwine to give your address to him so we can get that for his records and ours, okay? We have about 800 of you on the mailing list, but invariably somebody we miss. And it's called a Music Alumni newsletter twice a year. Our department right now is about 165 majors. We have 25 full-time faculty. You notice that the department brochure, there are a few familiar faces, fewer each year. And I particularly would like to acknowledge Jim and Ann Bean, Gene and Jane Duncan, and Glenn Fulbright for being here tonight. I know it means a lot to you, but to see them, and I'm sure for them to see you, because, you know, they really started this whole thing. You guys helped propagate it, and we still have one hell of a department based on your contributions in those days in the 60s. And I'm really happy you're here, but you did it, you know. Now, I want to thank Bill Redwine and Bill Barone for all their hard work. Tomorrow after the brunch, those of you who did not have the chance to take the tour, I will be available with unlocked doors and take you through Duncan Barrett Music Hall. Quite a bit of change since you were here if you have not been back. And so I'll deal with that tomorrow. I'll just say who wants to go, and we'll take off and go for that. We'd like to invite you to come back for homecoming. We do have an alumni band, October 1, if you're interested. You don't have to play if you don't want to. You can sit in the stands and do whatever. A lot of people do that. They say, oh, I haven't touched my axe in years, so that's okay. We'll give you a cymbal. Give you a bass drum. Remember me, bass drum? I did that at homecoming one year, and the students didn't know what to think of that. Because they have 6 or 7 bass drums and all this. But anyway, we'll go into that. You remember the Lions Club? We're going to France. Remember that? Oh, yeah. Aunt Jemima, you know, pancakes, what's the band fun girl? Vansburg, green flies, cafeteria food.
First time I ever rode a school bus, we went to Vansburg once, you never done that. Going to the bridge, Silver City. You have to do that now, you go right downtown. And then Bill said, you got to tell a joke at something that actually did happen, and this did indeed happen. I don't know how many of you were involved in this. But I remember at one cold evening, I remember where Cartmill Hall is now, used to be where the tennis courts were, because that's where, remember where the football stadium was. Clyde said he couldn't find the football stadium. He won't go by and what happened? But it was a cold evening, night game. Morehead did not have won a game. Do you remember the time they tied Murray and Gordon to dismiss school for a day? Yeah. The time they tied a game in 30-some games? 10-10, really? Well, anyway, we were getting ready to go on for halftime, I suppose, or just pregame, I don't know. It was raining, kind of cold. Somebody had a little bottle of hooch. I don't even remember what it was. And it got passed down throughout the band. And nothing eventful there, but in rehearsal Monday, Marzon made an announcement that several of us yet to be named were going to be expelled because Mrs. Doran saw that happening. You be in my office right after rehearsal. You're out of here. In fact, he only knew 2 or 3 names, and I think there were 35 people that showed up in that room. Mostly all first-chair players. So what did you say I should have answered that? Yeah, how many of you of that 35 would you like to stand? But anyway, I'm really pleased that you're here, and this is really wonderful for Linda and I to see you. We figured up we've been here a total of our collegiate career days and being back 27 years at this place, and it grows on you too. It's really a wonderful place. I will tell you something very personal about when our children left for college, their freshman year, each almost at the same time, halfway through, they wrote a wonderful letter back, saying now that why they realized we'd chosen to raise them in Morehead. Because, when they're younger, they say, well, it's a hick town, we got to drive here to do that and drive there. One is the University of Louisville, one is the University of Cincinnati, traffic, crime, ambulances, lousy water. My son still takes water to Morehead back. But now they understood why we chose to raise them here. And that spirit is also within the university still. And I'm not trying just to get corny about it, but it's a home. It still is a home. Our students still feel the same way we did when we were in school here. And that's a result of these people sitting over in this room. Hopefully I've learned from them and kind of share that with our current students, and it'll continue. It is a very, very special place. So it hasn't changed at all since you've left. The only thing that's changed since you've left is we've lost you. Now you're back. Now I'd like to do one thing before I get mushy. I think it would be kind of neat. So everybody gets to see everybody. We kind of passed in the dark and so forth, And I have here, this is a little token for you, and I think I ought to give the first one to Bill. But this is just a little token of a memorabilia. It is just a little quartz clock that you can put somewhere to remind you about Morehead every now and then. And essentially says Morehead State University Music Alumnus. And we'd like each of you to have one, and I'd like to ask each of you to come up here and to receive it, and that way everybody gets a good look at everybody. We're not older, we're chronologically gifted. Now, some of it, I did this through the list that Bill gave me, so I lost some spares along. These were somewhat organized, but I moved it around, they got all askew. So if you'll just kind of come on up, I think everybody would like to see it. These are somewhat still in order. Carol Short Getter. Let's get over there. Get her spouse by the time real quick. See our dear? Well, sorry to stick you to that. Steve is Illinois now. He's got a great deal. He gets a $1,000 raise every 12 hours he takes on his doctorate. I said, keep going. Keep taking 12 hours. Vera Bonkarowski Hayes, class of 63.
You guys remember Vera?
You evidently remember her too.
was her music, Chris. Chris, that was her music.
Oh,
I'm responsible, yes.
Gary Burton.
Let you off the hook.
Now Gary's got two of these. They're a little different.
Oh.
That's the neat part about it. Pat Martin. Remember the Ted Heath concert we went to? Yeah. His comment, anybody remember? That tune has chords all in it. Bonnie Mayo. Too far to go? Thank you. There you are. Let's see, let me grab some more for that. Phil Perry, you're Phil Perry? Well, that, this is good for me because I missed him. Marvin? You know Marvin. Oh, Marvin. Forrest Kelly, I know Forrest is here. Remember the days of Men's Hall? Yes, sir. Becky Repass, Baldwin.
They didn't make it.
They didn't make it? Okay, we'll send that to her. Mary Fowler Click. Very good. Class of 66. Sue Patrick. All right. Class of 66. I'm still there. I got a story for Jim. I already told him I'd tell the rest of you. Barbara Likens Henry. Didn't make it. We'll send that to her. Ed Yetter. That trip to Florida.
Oh, yes. By the way, we live in Zanesville, Ohio. For anyone who's from Pittsburgh, you always have to go through our town. All right? We're about 5 minutes north of the interstate, so you're welcome to stop by.
Jim Patrick. Joe Dallas said to tell you guys that he's the one that Joe stepped on his mute, but Joe stepped on a lot of mute. Joe Dallas. Joe said he couldn't be here. He's playing a circus in Norfolk, Virginia. And still a very active player. Steve Kavicek, Coach. I never did figure out why we called you that. You want to enlighten us? Or is it? Oh. John Jester. Class of 62. Carol Browning. Esther Benek Spadero. She's not living in Cincinnati. She lives in Pittsburgh. There you go. Can I have a hug? That's part of it. Clyde Connelly. Judy Moore Marshall. Louis Zuko. I had to look you up, I'll be honest, too.
Gee, we got another one if that one goes.
Down Franklin.
We got another one if that
Oh,
one
yeah.
goes.
Black band was in front.
Just leave it here.
And to be honest, I was in the vets called carrying the flag. You know, Rich started bouncing something else. Yes. We broke rank and ran off the bridge.
Louis Baldwin. Bob Marshall. Remember his big name? Carol Feather. You heard too. James Roush. Jim Roush. And Jim Morgan. Oh, he's here. terms of graduation is Randy Wells.
I'm glad he said that.
I was going to tell you, it's good to see Pat Martin here. He and Charlie Williams loaned me a car, and Sue and I eloped. We all got married. We've been happily married for 17 years, and 17 out of 36, that ain't bad, is
Now, is anybody who has come that we missed? Oh, yeah, there's two. Dixie Marshall? Is that Dixie Phillips, Marshall?
No.
Dixie Marshall?
No, Miles.
Okay. And, I'll wait on that. So, we got you here.
Thank you.
As well as Barbara Smith Erickson.
Let me get my hug.
Now, have we missed any of our alum from the 60s? We got everybody?
Jerry Marshall.
No.
Somebody. We got time out.
Hey, Chris, you might have got another one right here. He's in trouble early. Here's you knew her pretty well.
Well, I guess I'll take one myself.
Chris, was this just graduates or this just graduates?
Of music graduates, music alumnus.
Okay, all right.
So is that everybody? Well, finally, on my part, I guess, you know, after I introduce your music, which I have a little story about that too, and I don't want to go too long, we would like you to gather where, Eric, for a group?
Out in the lobby, in front of the big lobby out
In front of the Krager room, the big room on the third floor for a group picture. Okay? All right. He'll Eric will orchestrate that. At the beginning of this week, I was kind of in a dilemma. As many events occur in this building, we are asked to provide, as a department, music for various events. And duty gigs, we all did those, right? We still do. And we want to do, because we get to show off what it is we do. I thought how ironic it would be is here the gathering of musicians and no music, because this is summer and most of the faculty are gone. But I'm really happy I was able to find Dr. Taylor, Paul Taylor, assistant professor of piano, been with us, this is his 5th year, Paul, he finished his 5th year. He's going to come and play something for you, I don't know what it is, he'll announce it. Following that, and we'll gather in front of the Krager room for the photograph, and then I guess it's off, everybody on your own. So without further ado, Dr. Taylor?
But I almost came here in 1970. There was a piano teacher here named David Appleby. Does anybody know? David Appleby? Yeah, there's some people back here. And I met him in Interlaken, and he said, "Why don't you come to MSU and be a student?" I said, "Yeah, yes, my fun." So then, but then I came home and told my father, "No, Kentucky's too far away. Maybe later you can come here." So then I was going to Eastern Illinois University at the time, and the chairman of the piano faculty said, "Well, what's this David Appleby like?" The guy said, "Oh yeah, he's a great teacher." Blah 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 blah. So David went to Eastern Illinois, where I was before the camp. So he eventually stayed there and retired there. I got to graduate school, and then I got a job at Heidelberg College in Ohio. And I was at home one night, and I got a call from a student, a former student of mine. She says, "Oh, Dr. Taylor, please apply for the job at MSU." The MSU, I always wanted to go there as a student. They wouldn't take me. It's too good of a school. But lo and behold, I applied, and I came to the, I almost didn't get the job, I'm told by Dr. Gallagher. I had some trouble finding the university, and he figured if I thought that, Huntington, West Virginia was Morehead, then he didn't know if he wanted me to be here.
gotta hear this.
You already got stories, I've only been here.
In his interview, in other words, he came, interviewed with the search committee, saw the dean, vice president, da-da-da, performed marvelously, gave a master class. Sitting in my office about 4:30.
Yeah, he's like
Good.
that,
And
yeah.
I thought, what is it, what do we have here? Well, it turns out that Paul came from Heidelberg, came to Huntington, West Virginia, looking for Interstate 64. Several hours later, his young son who was with him says, Dad, the sign says, welcome to Virginia. He was supposed to have arrived in Morehead about 6 or 7 o'clock that night, and Dean got here at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because he just went and go west on 64, he went east on 64. So I thought we were in trouble there. But in spite of that, we hired him anyway.
But see, there's another wrinkle to that. At 5 o'clock that same afternoon, before I arrived in Morehead at 3 in the morning, I had a phone interview at Western Kentucky University. So driving, so I had to wait till the phone interview at 5 o'clock to leave to come to Morehead. So in my mind, as I was driving down the highway, I saw 64 east and west. I see Western Kentucky's over on that side, so I'll take east. But as I said, and then Chris said that, well, it was a very difficult decision because of the other two people were so qualified. But he said, well, since my name started with a T, that meant that the faculty mailboxes would only have to be moved over one side. So
The directory would not have to be moved.
Yeah, right. So this is the Chopin Polonaise.
Great effort to bring in a period piano from the 1840s. As it would have sounded when Chopin played it.
Great, just a couple things before we leave to go have group pictures made. Out, just to the left of the door out there will be, you see some folders like this. This has the prints in it, and there should be enough there for each one of you to take a set home with you. And again, compliments to the Alumni Association. And the bumper stickers that Chris had are laying on the same table right beside it. So, need to go do a group photo, and then everybody go back to West Manon and enjoy yourself all night long. If you want to, I think Bill wants to say something. He's pointing at you.
I did forget to thank everybody for coming here. I got so choked up here that I didn't read it on my little notes there. But I want to say thank you for all of you for coming. And before we part, we have 2 stories that we want to share with you. Steve Mars is going to tell the first one, and Jim Morgan is going to tell the second one of a typical day in Morehead.
Now, we've all got stories to tell about Fred Marzon. But this one also involves Randy. One day, in the band rehearsal, Marzon was conducting with his gestures as usual, and Randy was playing a baritone solo, and Mr. Marzon wanted to play a little louder. And so he was looking off in another direction and conducting, and he gives this motion with his finger and kept conducting. Randy laid his baritone down on his chair and proceeded to walk to the podium. And Marzon was conducting and came back like this and hit Randy in the shoulder. And Randy turned around and Randy tells me, he said, looked at him and said, what the hell are you doing there? And Randy said, well, you wanted me to come up. The band was in hysterics, and it was the end of the rehearsal.
The only problem was I had to step over trombone players and trumpet players to get up there, and they're all laying on the floor laughing.
Bill wanted me to mention about the story about David Koskowski processing. And some of you were probably in on this and were part of what happened that day. But David was getting quite frustrated when he couldn't play a certain passage. So he went down out of the practice room, went to the back of the building, back in that small parking lot behind, which is now probably a staircase to the new part of the building. He went back there and took that new Bach trumpet and smashed it against the side of the building. Just flattened it all out. They jumped on it, just flattened it completely. And some of us, being practical jokers as we were, we said our condolences to Dave, of course, for the trumpet. But we went in the building and swapped the trumpet for Frank Pasquale's Bach, just like it. And put it in the case. Closed it up and waited for band practice. Now, I didn't do that, but I knew some guys who did. When Frank came to practice, I have never seen a man more livid. He was running so hard he run into walls. And that's the story about it. And Ed wanted me to mention too about the baton incident with Jack Stetler.
Oh.
Directing brass choir to stick the baton in the ceiling, and he couldn't find it. We all knew where it was. Up there bouncing back and forth. And Fred Mars on the baton, directing the concert in the Convocation when we were at Button Auditorium during Convocation. And he was directing as well as he was, and he threw the baton over his shoulder. Without the audience, the kid in the second row stood up and put it between his arms and body. Then he was stabbed, We couldn't finish the concert.
Picture time.
Come on. Senior citizens have to ride the elevator. Senior citizen group.
Hi, Bill.
On tour. This. Morning, Bill. Parting shot. As if I needed it, right?
You probably got that thing plugged into your... Never mind.
Lou, Barb.
Long distance phone. They're paving none of these phones up here have long distance.
Bill Redwine.
Hi, Bill Brown. There's a paving.
Right over here, Ruth. Ruth Stevens. Jim, Judy. Listen, I appreciate you doing this and suffering through this with me. I know you hate this, but I want to get one more shot of everybody. Chris, Carol, do anything.
Hey, mark that one up.
Turn this way, Jim, Ed, and Mrs. Mars. I can't remember your first name. Sorry about that. Super. I thank you. There's a group. There's Randy. He's still talking from last night. Hey, Steve, how's your ear?
I've got a name tag back in the...
I think that I'm going to have that power I needed, right?
I have an idea.
I got what?
I think we should commission and have the music building painted.
Painted what?
Or a picture. Commission an artist to do the music building.
I was hoping it was in those
I know, I was looking through one at a time thinking, let one be the music building. Could we, did you think that's a good idea to commission someone?
Bill did everything but the right thing.
What?
Right, Judy. Ham it up, Judy. I love it.
I've seen that thing in my face long enough.
Hey, you're beautiful, kid.
He didn't hush, I don't think.
Hey, I want to see Harley Talks around us.
Pretty much leave this right here at the table or stick it Did you get hold of it? Any problem with that?
Excuse me, make sure they're all
What do we do with all our money? I haven't got it. Let me back up. We left here.
Yes, sir.
We went to the grocery.
Coming up.
All right. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves last night. When I left there about 10:30 or so, I think everybody was still going strong. I don't know if anybody stayed up all night or not, but I think Sue said Randy was still talking about 4 o'clock this morning, so, which I'm not surprised. To himself. As I said last night, I hope that everybody's enjoyed the weekend. I think from my standpoint as Director of Alumni Relations, it's been a smashing success. I think everything has gone well. We didn't have too extreme heat this weekend, and we didn't even have rain until just a few minutes ago. So I'm glad everybody could partake in this weekend. Couple things, just housekeeping items. Bill and I talked last night. He's been running around with this video camera, shooting everybody on it. We have a couple of sources that we can have that dubbed and have a copy of it done for everybody that was here, I believe. And I'm going to check on that this week and make sure that we can do that. And I'll be sending you more information about that later on. The photos that were taken last night, the group photographs, the 2 different groups, I'll be sending you 8x10s of each one of those as soon as we get them processed. And then the candid shots that the photographer took while he was roaming around last night, we'll sort through those, and with Chris's help, make sure that I can identify who's who, and we'll send you some of those also. The lists, we'll send you 2 lists of names, addresses, and telephone numbers. One list of all of you that are here, so that you can share addresses and phone numbers with each other. And the other list, a comprehensive list of everyone that was invited, so that you can contact them and tell them how much fun you had this weekend. And when we do this down the road, get them to come and partake in the weekend also. So you should have that from me probably within the next couple or 3 weeks back at home. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Ron Eaglin. Ron is the 12th president of the university. He was unable to join us last night, but came out this morning, and he'd like to say a few words.
You can hold your applause. I told Bill, I said, I like coming out to these type of events. I graduated in '62 from Southeast Missouri, which is now in the OVC. And the reason I like to come see 61 and 62 graduates, I kind of get a check to find out where I am. How many of you came to do that too? Want to see who has gray hair, who has hair at all, who's maybe blossomed out more than when they were here. We're certainly pleased to have you on campus. I think you'd be proud of what we're doing. Some of you may have sent your sons and daughters on to us, and maybe even talking to grandkids about coming sometime. But it's a great place still. Also wanted to find out who didn't get on one of those buses going east and west. You're all Adrian. You're all Adrian's children, I guess. He's still going strong. Tell you a little story about Adrian. We're doing a project 2 rooms down. We're going to call this whole area the Heritage Wing. And the first room to be done is the Gold Room, the old Gold Room. I don't know if this building was here when y'all were in school, probably not. But the Gold Room's been a little under disrepair for about the last 20 years. It's a little faded. It's not living up to its once glory as a room. And we're going to do some things in there to honor faculty members and staff members who've passed on. And we're also going to do things for current faculty awards and staff awards. But we also have some portraits of presidents in there, previous presidents, not this president here, which I'm gone. And I'm very I have 3 alive presidents who live within 60 miles of here. And I've got a new definition of how to get along with the world is to let them decide what their portraits should look like. And I got through Grody okay, and I got through A.D. Albright, but then I hit Adrian. So you're going to see Adrian, he's going to have that same kind of devilish look about him. He does have that about him. But I think he's got about 1938 hair and about 1954 face. And so when you come, it'll be interesting to see what the composite of Adrian looks like.
And Benign, I mean, she's just as beautiful as ever, and just as perky as ever. But that was an interesting day. We had the paints with us, and we finally decided, heck of it, we just have to go home and redo it. We'll do it right. But at any rate, I know you want to eat, and I know you want to visit with one another. We've been highlighting the Department of Music. I think Chris will tell you that. I'm a great believer in what you have done as graduates of this program and the new ones coming along. We have a great place to showcase them, not only with our band, which is still going strong, and finally we put new uniforms on them this year after 15 years of not having them. We have a gala every year where, if you haven't heard about it, talk to people who have heard about it. It'd be a great time to come back if you want to visit again and see how wonderful that program is still going. We highlight everybody who will play, our faculty, some of our best students, and it's a real nice night. It's uptown entertainment you'll find anywhere in the country. But at any rate, welcome back. Have a good time. If I can find an empty seat, I'm going to eat too. So we'll see you.
Thank you, Dr. England. And I'd like to point out for those that haven't had the opportunity to meet him, Dr. Richard Miles, the Director of Band, is with us today. Richard is carrying on the same fantastic tradition with the marching band that if you get an opportunity to come back to a ball game or to come to a parade when you see the marching band, I think you'll be just as proud of it today as you were when you were in the marching band. Richard's doing an excellent job with it. So Richard, we're glad you could be with us. At this time, I'd like to ask Forrest Kelly to come up, and I think he's going to give the invocation this morning, and then we'll be ready to partake in the food.
You're giving me a little better atmosphere for this. I'll try anyway. But it's great. Our Father, again, we thank you for the opportunity we have of renewing friendships and the memories that we have, and we especially thank you for those that have had their time here with us and have gone on. We thank you for them, for the memories that we hold so dear with them. And Father, we thank you for this food that we're about to partake of, for those that have prepared it for us. We pray that you'll give us all a safe trip back to our homes. Pray that you'll continue to be at this university, those that lead it, those professors and others that are doing such a good job, and we thank them for what they have done for us and the people in the past. These things I pray in Christ's name. Amen.
You're on.
All right. Can I have your attention just for a second? You recall last night that I offered to take you down. I'm sure I realize many of you already did that yesterday. Many of you might want to be heading on up the road. But could I get a ballpark show of hands of those of you following this gathering who would like to go down to Baird and take a 50-cent tour or $1 or whatever? I'll be most willing to do it. Okay, well, I'll just meet you downstairs in the lobby when we're finished. It has stopped raining. That's an extra little attraction we brought to you today. As you always do when we were here in Morehead, it's a place where the sun always shines and the mud never dries. It's pretty dry here for the past few weeks, so we really need it. So I'll meet those of you. We can stroll down to Baird and I'll show you what's new about the building. And that's that.
As Terry Wicker would say on the radio, this is WORM, underground.
It might be a good idea that I remind everybody, any of you that have college-age children or children that will soon be college-age, need to remember that if they come to MSU, we have a scholarship program for children of active members of the Alumni Association. It's called the Alumni Grant Program. If you're an active member of the Alumni Association and your child has an admissions index, which I'll explain what that is to you, of 500, then they are eligible for a scholarship for 4 years at $650 a year. And that's a program that was implemented about 7 years ago and has taken off like crazy. And we have probably 100 or 125 new students every year who come in on the Alumni Grant Program. Say, other than Bill Barone is the biggest ham that I have ever seen in my life. But with without him having the idea to put this weekend together, we would not have had the opportunity to have all of you here. So,
I wanted you to leave all that out.
now,
Just say the end.
Thank you, and we're looking forward to the next one, and we're going to be sending you some information about setting a time to get y'all back together again.
Thanks,
you.
Bill.